Namaskaram, my dear friends, I'm back again. This time I'm going to share with you all another breakthrough I had in my spiritual process. Remember when Sadhguru said that 90% of your spiritual work is done if you just set yourself aside? I have heard this multiple times before, like Sadhguru saying, if you just set aside yourself, how big you are, your likes, your dislikes, majority of the spiritual process is done and all he has to do is take care of the 10%. Seems like a good deal for me. But the problem with that was I really didn't understand the process. I mean, yeah, sure, we don't understand a lot of the processes, but experientially, I didn't experience it. Logically, yes, it does make sense. Just set aside the duality, I am one with the universe. Logically, it all makes sense, but I was just not feeling it. Until lately. So I find myself constantly in a situation where I get so frustrated because I don't get what I want. Right? It's frustrating. But what's so tricky with my mind because it disguises itself as something virtuous. For example, I like things a certain way because it's my daughter. Or, I like things a certain way because it's better for the environment or it benefits the majority. So I kind of really find myself justifying things, my wants or my dislikes. So it seems more from good intent. It's so sad. And in situations where I really don't get what I want, I let it go. Sure, I let it go. But it lingers. The feeling of not getting what I want lingers for a few days until I can settle down and just let it go completely. So after trying to figure out my process, the spiritual process, step after step after step after step, I'm bound to get somewhere. Right? Or I'm just in circles. I need to be moving forward. So how I figured it out was in the definition of the problem. I need to figure out what the problem is and define it. What was wrong? What was the hurdle in my process moving forward? And what is causing it? And hopefully if I define it, I could have a solution. So that's how I proceeded. So scientific. Though there are a lot of problems that need defining, I need to take it one problem at a time. Bite size. So with this approach, instead of reasoning, which really doesn't get me anywhere because it's just justification, not solution, right? So I shifted from justification and reasoning to finding an appropriate solution. So here goes. In a situation where there's a hurdle, instead of trying to figure out what I want usually, which is the usual case, I take a step back and then I realize sometimes, most of the time, imposing my wants or imposing my likes and dislikes is actually the hurdle, the biggest hurdle. And because I get so stuck in trying to get what I want or avoid the things that I don't like, then I realize oh my god, that's actually the biggest hurdle because it takes so much time and energy versus just actually figuring out the best solution for a situation. Especially when emotions come along, oh my god, emotions are so elaborate, so convincing, sometimes provocative. It is so dramatic, oh my gosh, it captivates. I don't know about you, but that's how my emotion is. Which is kind of embarrassing to admit. But oh well. So one time recently, I was in an argument with Brent. And I was arguing for what I wanted. And I gave the reason that it was better for her daughter and that my reasoning was right and logical. But of course he had his argument, his side of the story, etc., etc. In his eyes, he is right. In my eyes, I am right. So we're never gonna get anywhere. Arguing back and forth, back and forth. Words were said, some words hurt. To be honest, looking back, I just really feel like I just made the words hurt me. Words don't hurt until you allow them to hurt you. But yes, so at that moment, words hurt me. I was crying. And when I'm emotionally hurt, I know this about myself. I need to be soothed. I need to be validated. Which is another big issue. Because I allowed for a situation where only Brant can validate me and soothe me. Which he is not capable at that moment because we just had an argument. It was so stupid too. The argument was just the darn water bottle, whether to wash it, whether it's clean or not. See, so stupid, like, oh my gosh. But anyway, going back. When I was full of emotion and crying and wanted validating and wanted soothing, I then realized, I need to figure out to soothe myself and validate myself. Or not even soothe or validate myself. I just need to figure out how to get through all the emotion so I can focus on the darn solution. But at that moment, I was so incapacitated. Emotions took over, and emotions are so powerful because I was completely disarmed. I couldn't move forward. I was just broken. What was supposed to be a small argument or small topic, just darn water bottle, became so big for me. It's so embarrassing that I was completely beaten up by my emotions. And I was really desperate. Like, seriously, I was desperate to move forward because I was always in the cycle of wanting to be soothed and wanting to be validated after allowing myself to be hurt. Like, oh my gosh. And I was desperate. I was really desperate. And so I asked Sadhguru, in that moment, I'm desperate. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to move forward past my emotions. Please help me walk through these overwhelming emotions. And I just sat. I sobbed, I cried. And what would probably have taken me a few days to self-soothe, to figure out emotionally, it happened in 5-10 minutes. And I was okay again. I cried my last tear. For that moment, I looked at Brand, touched his arm. We started to laugh of how stupid I was, or at least how stupid the situation was. And then we continued with our lives. I'm sharing this with you all because the emotional buildup, the source of the unnecessary emotional buildup was so stupid, but it became so big and so out of control. It became a situation where I didn't know how to control. But Sadhguru, and he never fails, Sadhguru at that moment, with his grace, allowed me to see what I was missing. To see that, my gosh, I could put all my emotions in a tiny box, tie a string on that box and set it aside. Just set it aside. And then I was able to move forward. And that was a breakthrough because I know I'm the one who would seek soothing and emotional validation from external sources. That was a breakthrough for me because with our Guru's grace, I was able to handle a desperate situation. An internal turmoil was solved for the first time in a while. And that experience was a doorway. Now knowing that, though I don't get what I want or that I have to deal with my dislikes, it's okay because it really doesn't matter anymore. Actually, it never really mattered in the first place. And at that moment, the solution was, when the argument had happened and we came to a solution, just set aside the emotions, the emotional hurt, and then move forward. And so we decided to actually wash the water bottle later. Oh my god, for a darn water bottle. But in that moment though, I realized that any hurdle, any obstacle, I could go through it. It's possible for me to be able to go through it because I am never alone. I'm not the only one. For our Guru's grace is always present. Everywhere we go, wherever we may be. If we allow it, our Guru's grace will always be forever with us. Namaskaram. So yes, you guys, just a lot of sharings recently because I find myself constantly in a situation where, I recognize it's Sadhguru's grace. Always Sadhguru's grace. So yes, may we all be showered, may we all be graced by the divine and by Sadhguruji. Namaskaram. So yes, until next time you guys. Bye. Mwah. I love it when I'm done because I don't turn on the AC while I record because it's so noisy. I get so sweaty.